So, folks, here at the Daily Wire, we have been radically expanding our content offerings. One of the areas I'm most excited for us to jump into is sports. We have a brand new Daily Wire sports podcast every single day. Crain Company. You'll be getting in-depth sports analysis, informative interviews, predictions, and wagers, constant live chat engagement with the fans. You can tune in live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern at dailywire.com or over on YouTube. And you can download it as a podcast on Apple Podcasts or your platform of choice. So make sure that you subscribe. Joining us on the line are the hosts of that show, Jake Crain, Blain Crain, and David Cohn. Guys, congrats and welcome to the team.
Well, Ben, thank you, man. We're unbelievably excited. Like I keep saying, I'm just waiting to wake up from a coma and then to tell me what car hit me. But no, we couldn't be more excited for a sports show that actually talks about sports, being able to cover kind of every area of it and to work for, such a great company like you guys and what you've built. It truly is an honor, and we're ready to step to the plate, to use an old cliche.
So I want to have each of you guys sort of describe what your background is, how you got into this business. So why don't we start with you, Jake? How did you get into doing Crain Company and your show?
Yeah, well, it's a true underdog story, average Joe style. Played at South Alabama, coached there, coached college football, going on 9 years, 6 at the Division I level, traveled all across the country. And during quarantine, during the pandemic, went back, and that was the first year of the early recruiting period. So a lot of our guys had been signed. Really not trying to waste time, but trying to keep myself busy. I always loved talking sports, not just football, and started it in a back room in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's grown exponentially. Decided sitting in the airport, getting ready to fly back to my coaching job up in Montana, that this was something I wanted to give a shot. And woke up and here we are now, and very excited to see where we are and where we're going. So it's a true capitalism, work ethic, entrepreneurial story. And like I said, we couldn't be more excited to be here right now.
And Blaine, how about you? How did you get started in doing this?
Kind of the same thing. So I was coaching actually up in Iowa and came back during the pandemic. And, Jake actually mentioned something. He wanted to start a podcast, a sports podcast. The thing about, going through coaching and stuff like that, you've always been able to take complex things and make it simple, especially for your players, just to get the word out right. So we started it. It started blowing up, and, we got there, got a call from Atlanta, moved there, and now we ended up here working for y'all. So, it's so fun to see where it started and just, where it's ended up. And, man, I couldn't be happier.
And, David, you're the third part of this tripartite show. So how did you join up?
Well, there was a rule in my house growing up that you had to play sports year-round, and that culminated with me being able to play quarterback at the University of Michigan. I was very fortunate to do so. And after graduating, I started a video production company. I've been working in video production for 10 years. I was very fortunate to be able to meet Jake and Blaine. And he said, I want to have the greatest sports podcast there is. I'd like to be on video rather than just audio. And with our sports backgrounds, we really just hit it off, and one thing led to another, and now we're here.
Yeah, Cohn's my tallest friend, too.
Yeah, he big dude. So I'll tell you guys how I found you. So I've been listening to sports radio. I'm a big sports radio kind of junkie, and all the big shows I've been listening to. And over time, they just became unlistenable because every time I would tune in, it would be somebody lecturing me about woke politics and about why I needed to pay no attention to the fact that Nike and China and the NBA were all working together, or every time I turned on a sports game, it was somebody kneeling for the national anthem. And I thought to myself, there are literally 100 million people in this country who follow sports who are not interested in this stuff. They don't want to be lectured about wokeness. It's not even that they're right wing per se. It's just they want sports without any of the MSNBC content attached. And so I went on Twitter and I asked people, like, what's a good show that I can listen to that's just sports without the woke? And people started recommending your show. And so I saw your show. I reached out to you guys. And here we are. That's how we got here. And one of the things that I love about your show is that, again, it is sports first. It's going to be all the stuff you need to know about all the various sports in depth. It's exciting stuff to listen to. It's entertaining. You guys are really, really fun to listen to. And you do cover all of the various sports together. So why don't I ask you about where we stand? Let's start with the NBA right now. So the NBA is kind of a mess. Not in terms of its viewership. Its viewership is back up. But a lot of the teams who you might have expected to sort of be doing well this year are really not doing all that well this year. Obviously, the number one team that's just been a giant fail to my pleasure is the Los Angeles Lakers, who have just been a complete debacle. They actually got booed at home last night. What do you make of the Lakers and where they stand right now?
Well, it's been a comedy of errors for Los Angeles. I mean, you look at the Russell Westbrook situation, LeBron kind of coming out, the locker room and the culture there. I mean, we talk about, the big three at the Heat and all these super teams. Well, the Lakers put together the Transformers or the Power Rangers of the NBA, and they're not able to get it done. One thing, Ben, when I do look at the NBA, I'm all for parity. I like having teams teams, whether they be small market teams, be able to make a run. You look at what the Bucks were able to do last year. The Suns have really kind of come up. But the Los Angeles Lakers, it's a very simple, few team driven league. And for them to have success overall, and I'm not talking about some of the TV deals that don't make sense with the Nuggets or the Nets where you can't even watch them if you're in your own state because of cable disputes. There's few teams that drive the NBA. And the NBA, look, the regular season in the NBA is like watching a Mike Lindell commercial. You're just wondering when the next pillow fight's coming until you get to the playoffs and you see them actually really start to play. But whether it's the Lakers, you look at Steph Curry and the Warriors right now, he's going through a shooting slump, which is, one of the most surprising things you could ever see because he's a witch of the highest order. But for the NBA to be operating at full speed, they need the big dogs to be playing well. The NFL can get away with it whether the Cowboys are struggling, not getting in the playoffs. They're a little more superfluous when it comes to other teams having success. But the NBA and the personalities that they have and the debates that get driven off the NBA really rely on a couple of teams at the top. The Knicks have been an absolute disaster. They're going to have to call FEMA after a while if they don't figure it out. The Lakers, like you said, it's a Heath Ledger situation. Everybody keeps joking on him, and it's the truth. And LeBron keeps stepping on his own foot. Now he's just trying to get Bronny put in the league so he can get drafted by a team. So when I look at the NBA as a whole, playoffs, yeah, but looking at the Lakers in this other situation, I don't know how you can fix it other than just letting it play out and stop force-feeding us who needs to be good, who shouldn't be good, and giving us reasons that don't make sense. But hell, it's the NBA, Ben. What else do you come to expect?
So I want to ask you, I got just a minute here left, but I may as well get your picks now because we are about to enter March Madness in the next couple of weeks. Gonzaga is ranked number 1. You got Arizona and Auburn filling out the top 3. So from each of you, who is your pick to win it all this year?
Ben, that's tough. If it's me right now, I think the team that's playing the best 1 through 5 is the Kentucky Wildcats.
Wrong.
I really do. I think Oscar Tshiebwe is going to win Player of the Year. I mean, the guy's an absolute machine. He's a robot, but he looks smooth doing it. And Ty Washington getting back healthy, Severe Wheeler getting back healthy. I think Auburn's also a dangerous team, but I think Kentucky's more of a complete team and Auburn's more of a dangerous team, and I'd rather take a more complete team in March Madness.
I'm going to ride with Purdue, actually. I'm going to go up to the Big Ten. I think that they have possibly, them and Auburn, they have the best front court in the country with Zach Edey and those guys. And then I think Jaden Ivey is one of the best players. He'll be drafted probably top 3. So despite a bad loss, look, 1 through 6 all lost this weekend, right? So despite that, I'm going to ride with Purdue right now.
Ben, I'm not going to pick Gonzaga. It's just tough for me to pick a team that they go on the road and play teams where their parents still work at the concession stand like it's high school. I'm going to go with Auburn. I think they got the best front court in the country with Walker Kessler, who's blocked more people than Mark Zuckerberg. Jabari Smith, probably going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. The guards have to start playing better. They've got to get more out of KD Johnson, but I think Bruce Pearl is an absolute warlock when it comes to the NCAA tournament and getting his teams to play the best. You can give me Auburn, but for sure not picking Gonzaga, and I'll die on that hill, like Colonel Mustard.
Well, that's Jake Crain, Blain Crain, and David Cohn. They're the brand new hosts of Crain Company. They just finished taping. You should go check them out every single day over at dailywire.com or on YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern. And make sure to subscribe on any place you get podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, and send them up the charts. Guys, congrats and welcome to the show.
Thanks,
sir.
Ben. Appreciate it, my friend.
Appreciate it.